So why did you decide this is going to be an interesting thing for you to do in your life right now?
Well, funny enough, I actually didn't decide. So I was sought out. COVID happened. I've always been very active in the theater community here, whether it's Gateway Theater Guild, Dreamcoat, and then some of my girlfriends and I created a little group called the Dressing Room Collective, and we did Nonsense at Trinity Church, and we did things like that. And just before COVID hit, we were on track to do Cabaret, the musical. And then COVID hit, and that got shut down, obviously. And then after COVID came back, people had found other things to do, right? People had to kind of figure out, okay, where's this creative outlet coming now that we can't do this, or now that we can't, congregate in groups or whatever. So what happened was, some people kind of moved away. Some people had different jobs. Some people, and so the dream of Cabaret sadly fell apart. And then we were kind of left with this ether of nothingness. And it was sad. And I was sad. I was really sad. It's being, doing theater with friends and entertaining people is why I was put on this earth. That's just it. And singing was a huge part of that. And I, was no longer singing with the jazz band because of course everything was closed. And so there was a real pocket of just kind of empty air. And out of the blue, I was journaling and I was kind of writing and throwing it out to the universe because I'm a little oogie boogie like that, Dave. I do believe things happen for a reason. I believe you do call things in, and whatever energy you put out there, that's going to come back to you. And out of the blue, Scott called me. Of course, I did theater with Scott, the Nipsing Stage Company, known him for years, and hadn't talked to him in a long time. Anyways, he called, and he just I was at work at the time, so I missed the call, but I got the message, and he said, "Hey, Lisa, it's Scott here. Listen, got something going on. I think it's gonna be amazing, and I think you're gonna be awesome at it. So give me a call back. Okay, bye." And I was like, "Okay, what's going on?" So and it was weird because it was excitement, but it was also like, this is it. This is the next thing, Right, it was so weird. It was just
timing of life. Right?
When we talked and he said, "It's a podcast and we'd like you to host the podcast." It was just an immediate like, "Okay, when and where? Yeah, what's going on? Let's go." So I don't know. There's just kind of a sense of, this for whatever reason is where I'm supposed to be right now. And so that's comforting. And the team here is incredible. Like you and Ben and Scott and Michaela and everyone here at Clark Communications is amazing. And it's so that's important too, is to have a really good team around you and to like what you do. So, I'm excited.
I guess so. Yeah. This is, COVID, of course, was very disruptive, but life is shaking itself back into form for a lot of people at this time. And this is something surviving COVID with my magazine and after leaving the Nugget and the timing, I was looking for a partner of some sort that had the ability and heft and the capacity to do the things I can't do. Because I was trying to do podcasts and all that stuff. I was trying to run a magazine. And you can't do it alone, right? I knew you couldn't. Yeah. And I kept looking and finally, actually, Scott called me out of the blue. It was after I was writing some political columns during the election, and he felt that it was time for him and I, even though we knew each other for 20 years, let's have lunch and just talk. He wanted to get to know me in a different way, because usually we're just hi-bye. And as a reporter, we don't talk to marketing people, right? We get out of here. Whatever. Right. And so it was interesting in the conversation. It wasn't transactional at all. It was, we just talked about, what I was doing, why I was doing it. And he said, well, I was thinking about, maybe I can put, a podcast studio in my boardroom. I said, you gotta do it. It doesn't have to be real fancy. You don't have to spend a lot of money. And then it just snowballed as we went, right? It's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. So who is Lisa Boivin? Not just a performer.
Who is she?
Yeah.
I don't know. She's many things. Like what do you mean? like what I do when I'm not here?
Yeah, well, you've worked at a gazillion places, and your love is theater, and you're a performer at heart, right? You're born to this, but there's more.
There is more. I don't know. It's funny because I was thinking about this interview this morning. I was like, when is Dave going to ask me? I have to be prepared for everything. No, I think at this point in my life, you know, as you know, Dave, as you get older.
Thanks.
Let's just call it what it is.
I am your senior.
That's right. But you just kind of settle, right? You just kind of settle into, I don't mean settle in life, don't ever do that. But you just kind of settle into yourself a little bit and things become really clear. Things that you were desperate for when in your 20s are not even a blip in your day. You know, when you get to kind of like 30s, 40s, 50s, you know, the more you get. Notice I said all of those decades and I won't agree to any of them. But I don't know. I love people. I love to talk to people. I love relationships. Like I love to form relationships. I love to cultivate relationships, to care for them. I have family here in town. My mom's here in town. I have an older brother who teaches at Nipissing, and his family. His wife is a nurse, an RN at the North Bay Hospital, and that's where I work too. Again, because I have a bajillion jobs. I don't know. I love nature. I love gin.
At what point
else do you want to know, Dave?
At what point did you become comfortable with yourself and just because that's a part of stage of life, right? Yeah.
I would say, I mean, in terms of performance and in terms of, you know, being on stage or doing kind of, you know, I went to Sheridan for music theater and doing that. I think that part I was always comfortable with, right? As soon as I went on stage and the lights went on, I was always comfortable in that because you're a facet of yourself. You're not fully yourself, right? You bring part of yourself to the table, but you're ultimately playing a character. And so that was always comfortable for me. But, you know, I think when I really started to just kind of sink into who I was probably like my 30s, my 30s. I think I really started to, I've always been somebody who, like, I just always know what I want and what I don't. And my mom, Sal, oh, geez, she always had a really good way of explaining it. She said, it's my older brother. She said, you know, she says, Lisa, when Joe was born, you know, your father and I mean, we molded him into who he is. I mean, you know, we brought him up and we taught him all these things and everything. We were a very big influence on how he is now. And then you came along and she's like, and you just kind of already had everything figured out. She was like, you know, people just didn't tell you what to do. Like it was just here, you know, and I mean, I laugh because I'm the second born, I'm the youngest. So maybe I think that plays a part in it too. But I think I definitely have always been somebody who knows my own mind and I know what I want, I know what I don't, and so that kind of makes life a little bit easy too, right? Because you can kind of really just figure out your path and where you want to go in it, and then just jump on. And I think I'm somebody who is very, I'm definitely glass half full too, so that really helps, right? Like just having that positive attitude. I believe you absolutely get more with honey than with what do you say? Get more flies with honey. That's it. I'm like honey with other than I don't know what else.
You can get more bees too, but
crap. Yeah, you know, but you can always get more flies with honey, right? Like you just. Yeah, I think I'm a true believer in that. Like the energy you put out and how you treat people, karma. I mean, it'll come back to you full fold, and I think you just have to lead with love.
That's why I'm so soft and. You know,
that's right. Yeah. That's why you have like so many lovely friends around you. Yeah, that's right. Prickly person. No, you're not at all. No, I think you just lead with love, right? You just lead with love in anything you do, even if it's conflict or whatever, right? You just always kind of consider that other person and just be open and say yes to stuff.
That's a big thing.
Even if you're scared, like say yes all the time. If somebody said, hey, you want to come and do this? Yes, sure. And then be scared later. Just figure it out. It's going to be fine. Yeah.
Well, that's a good part of that. I love when you do your invitation to your mom there.
She hates it. She's going to hate it. And we have to get her on the show for sure. I got to build her up a little bit more because I want, you know, I'd love the audience to kind of get to the point where they're like, who is this Sal, right? It's just going to be like Maris on Frasier. Remember how like we never saw Maris? Only heard about her. But anyway, Sal's a character. She's pretty fun.
I think the next step in your evolution is stand-up comedy. You got to do it. You're so funny.
Man, yes. It's definitely the one area where I've just always been way too scared to do it. And I don't know why, because we've talked about this, right? Like I'm I go to work and I have, hear something on the news, and I go to work and I tell this story at work, and, people are laughing and we're laughing, and I get such a high from that, because I just love it when people are happy, and I just love to make people laugh and have a great, just forget about their troubles for a minute or two.
Yeah, we had Andre Raymond. He came in. You
yes, I had a great chat with Andre. Yeah. And I loved his concept, right? Because he's having these comedy nights at Lou Dogs.
Yep.
Third Tuesday of the month, I think.
Last Tuesday.
Last Tuesday of the month. Yep. But I loved what he said about it, and that actually really helped me. Was that, he said, I don't call it open mic night, because he goes, I feel like there's a stigma when you hear open mic night, that it's like New York or it's like LA. It's like this big comedy club, and it's, these people, these massive comics are going to be there. And he said, it doesn't need to be that. It doesn't need to be that. This is North Bay. Nobody's like,
So beer league comedy
people aren't
covers
here.
it.
Amy Schumer, we love her, but like she's probably not going to come here. You know what I mean? So he's like, it's okay. You can just come and try your stuff out. And he said it's a really welcoming environment.
Do you like Amy's comedy?
I do. Yeah. I do. I watched her special, her Netflix special about the making of her Netflix special. And it was really interesting. I really liked it. Yeah, because I knew of her comedy before, but after watching, I think it was a 5-part series actually, and I kind of followed her through her horrible pregnancy with her son. The poor thing, she was diagnosed with, I'm not going to get the technical term, but anyways, emesis, where basically you're throwing up like morning sickness constantly. And here's this woman who has a crazy work ethic, and she's putting her sets together, and she's getting on the subway, and she's going to these nightclubs, and she's trying out jokes because she knows the Netflix thing is coming up. Yeah. So she's working these crazy hours, and I don't even know how she survived. And they actually say that there is a percentage of pregnancies that they end because you just can't even sustain. Like, you're just throwing up constant. And so they had there she is. Like, at one point she did this big comedy show, and she gets back in the truck and she's like, guys, that was that was really good. I think the seconds, I'm like, how are you even doing this, Amy? Like, this is crazy. So I don't know, my respect for her just went crazy. Like,
a good example of somebody that having the resilience, and I love those stories. Some of the other people that you interviewed so far, as we were preparing and practicing, but we're putting these in the can, and we have many of these that are going to come out. So talk about a couple of the other stories, interviews you did that you found some inspiration from.
Yeah, I think the one I did with Fran Hanover was really interesting. So she lives here in North Bay, and she was adopted by a German family. And through a series of events, decided to look into her birth parents. And she took the ancestry.ca test where you spit in a little vial. She doesn't like spit. There's a whole funny story about that. Anyway, so she did it, and it was just really, it was really eye-opening talking to her, because I have nothing to relate it to. I'm not adopted. I know who my parents are, so I know who I take after. I know who I look like. I know my mannerisms are like this or do. And so the whole time I was talking to her, I really had to focus, because I kept, she would say things, and I'd go, man, like, yeah, like how would you even know? Like, you'd constantly be thinking, do I like potato salad because my mom likes potato salad, or like, why do I like,
It's a totally different.
Yeah. And things came up about nature versus nurture, right? So she was brought up in this family, and does she like these things because the family taught her these things, or is this, and then we kind of got into that, because when she finally met one of her siblings, they Zoomed, and she said it was like looking in a mirror finally, right? Because, she, Fran, she's darker skin, and obviously, and she said, here's this German family kind of saying, what are we going to do with the chocolate baby? Like, what are we going to do? And Fran said that, and it was just funny, because she said it was just this crazy childhood that she had, and yet fully loved. And, and then it brings up other questions like are adoptive parents like real parents, and like, all these kind of things could have come out of that,
it's
right?
Very deep.
It just goes, you can go down the rabbit hole so far, but that was really interesting.
Anybody else? I know you've done about a dozen.
Dave, I'm trying to remember how many. It's been like a whirlwind the past few weeks.
Well, the first one that's coming out will be, and it's already dropped by the time this. The viewers won't see this until after we launch. And the first one is about Paige and Jordan's Bash for Hope.
Yes. Yeah, talk about inspiring there. What a force. What a force. They both are, that whole family. So Paige Schemmelt, the widow of Jordan Gardner.
Yeah.
And, it's interesting because the first time I was made aware of who Jordan was and the Jordan Smash for Hope was watching one of your interviews. With Sam Harvey.
Right.
And what struck me in that interview immediately, Sam spoke so well. But what struck me was that love, was the love that Sam had for Jordan and for the family. And just, that was something really special to watch. And it just immediately, I was sucked in and I just wanted to know more. So speaking to Paige,
did you expect her to cry?
No. Did she?
No, she didn't.
Oh, no, she didn't. I think
did you think it'd be more remorse than not remorse, but
yeah, that's interesting, because I don't think so. I don't think so. I thought maybe, depending on what we kind of hit on or what we talked about, and I was very cognizant of that too. I was actually really nervous before I did that interview because, I didn't want to kind of say something that I shouldn't have, or bring up something that was really a trigger, or it's hard when you're talking about loss, right? Because everyone experiences it differently.
Some of these interviews are like stormy waters, right?
Yeah,
it's really kind of weird when you come into it, whether or not, and it can go any way it goes is okay. That's what you learn, is that if it goes there, that's fine. I choke up on a bunch of my interviews.
Oh man,
I'm a big
I cry all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, I cry all the time. Yeah, and she and I. She did get a little teary. There was one point where she talked about, when she got that phone call from Jordan, because they were just about to head away to be married. Yeah. And they thought it had to do with his cystic fibrosis as to why he was having these extra health issues. And then he went down to get tested, and she says, I was at work and I get that phone call, and she said, it's just a phone call you just never want to get. This immediately in a second, their lives were changed forever.
And one day you're doing an interview like that, then you're doing Josh Bainbridge and his wrestling.
Oh man,
right?
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, Josh.
The spice
was great
of life
to talk
in these
to.
interviews is going to be great.
It's all that's what's amazing about it, right? It's fun for me to talk to all these people, but I can't wait to release this to the masses of North Bay, right? And have them get to listen to it. And and it's not a long show, right? So it's something that's very attainable. It's something that you can do while you're you're dropping the kids off to school, or you're getting groceries, or you're cleaning the house, whatever you're doing. But it's really attainable. And
the digestible 30 minutes is I think that fits with a lot of people. Not like some of mine go on for an hour, and I can tell by analytics where they kick off, right?
You're like, bye. See you, Dave. I'm out.
My thing with those is that it's part of a workflow where I want the whole transcription from YouTube so I can write a story for the magazine a lot of the times, right? So I don't care if people watch the whole thing or not.
That's okay.
Because I'm going to write about it too.
Yeah,
right?
and like you said, there's going to be the show may take some different formats too. There could be maybe there's going to be a round table.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Yeah. That maybe happens, once every couple of months or something, and it is an hour long, but you can subscribe and listen to it.
A special show.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's no limit.
Yeah.
We're writing all the rules. Nobody's ever done this in North Bay before.
No, we're renegades.
Yeah, yeah. And there's going to be some other shows, a lot of sort of variety, and there's going to be a high school sports show that's coming up. One for rail fans that we're working on. Last night we had a meeting with people that investigate missing people.
Oh, wow.
It's bigger than you.
Oh, like true crime? Yeah, it's bigger than me. What?
It's bigger than me.
We didn't talk about this.
It's bigger than me. It's bigger than you. But that's the thing. We're trying to create a momentum and a collective sort of approach, and then amplify everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's room for everyone. There always is.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Just going to ask, what do you do when you're not doing work and theater and podcasting? Like, how do you spend the quiet time? Or is there quiet time?
Yeah, I love quiet time. It's funny.
Wait. Oh, you're not a cat lady, are you?
I'm a cat lady? You and the cat? No, I don't have a cat
okay,
yet.
Good. Okay, go ahead.
I'd love to have a little titted. My family's allergic. If you get rid of them, I'm gonna have to put them on a boat. No, I'm kidding.
So quiet time.
So, yes, I love quiet time because it's interesting. My friend, one of my besties, Tracy, and I were talking about this, that we are both performers and we love to be in the limelight, but we're introverts. Absolutely 100% an introvert. Like if I have a choice of going to a party on a Friday night and staying home, home always wins. And so I love quiet time and I crave it. And I think many artists, I think, feel this way is because it's such a full body thing when you're doing your thing that you kind of need to recharge, you know? Yeah. So yes, I love my quiet time. I love to read. I love to be outdoors. You know, I love to go walking Laurier Woods. Anyways, I love to be outside. And I love to work out too. Like I'm a big person who likes to, have a little elliptical at home and my little Pilates. So I do that stuff. And then just like be with friends. I think my girlfriends are incredibly important to me and into life. And so I see them a lot. We should all have that connections with people. And you don't need a lot. No. Facebook users, which I am not part of. But like, you don't need a million bajillion friends on Facebook. You need like one or two who you can call at 2 a.m. and they're going to show up. Right. Yeah. Well, real life friends. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they're so important. So yeah. Movies, huge into movies, huge into TV. Love me some Netflix. Love me some action movies. Action is my favorite genre. I just recently saw the new Mission Impossible and anyways, do you have another question, Dave? I'm not happy. I'm not happy about it. Anyways, no, they missed the boat. I think they missed the boat on this one. There was just too much going on. It was too long for no reason. I don't even know. And apparently, it was all about Ethan Hunt and his little girlfriends because he had one in the first 10 minutes of the movie and then like 15 minutes later, he's got another one. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. Is this a rom-com? I don't think so. Get this romance crap out of my action movie. I was so insulted. Anyway. Well, you're just going to have to write your own movies. Have you? Well, I have written a script. Oh, yeah? I do have a short script that I kind of threw around. Josh kind of helped me with it a little bit. And Derek Diorio, who's a director in town here. And sent it to quite a few people, got some great feedback. And it's not a feature. It's not a feature, but it definitely could be. It could go into the feature. It's called Jack and Diane. Jack and Diane. And it's about these two assassins who are friends, but during this little, I think it's probably about 40 minutes long, 45 minutes long, during this little kind of rampage that they go on because they're doing a mission right at the beginning. They figure out that they're definitely in love. Like they figure out that they have more feelings for each other and stuff. But it's funny. It's quick. Would you consider yourself a romantic? Yes. In life, yeah, for sure. I hate rom-coms. Will not watch them. I shouldn't say I hate all rom-coms. Like there's a few. Like I love 2 Weeks Notice with Sandra Bullock and Hugh Grant. Like it has to be smart. It has to be a smart one. I'm not into the ones where it's just, silly comedy and whatever, because I do love comedy. And what kind of books? Like some people say they read a lot, but it's crap. What do you read? So I love mysteries. I love like a lot of spy things, crimes. I like crimes. A lot of like I watch true crime all the time. Pieces. Yeah. So I'm reading. What am I reading right now? Gilly McMillan. I like Gilly McMillan. I got into Ruth Ware. Ruth Ware was really good. She's British, but she writes a lot of like crime novels and stuff. And they're quick. They're page turners and they're fun. I don't do a lot of nonfiction. Not really. I like fiction. I like a good story. If you want to throw in some paranormal stuff into there a little bit, not like sci-fi, but Lord of the Rings. I mean, come on. We've all read Lord of the Rings. You have not read Lord of the Rings? No. I have an active imagination. I live... You live with Lord of the Rings? I live in a world like, it's just, yes. It's not as exciting as and I haven't found any rings, but no, I don't read as much as I'd like to. Yeah. I read a lot of news stuff, right? And I'm always busy on the computer. Right. And as soon as I crack open a book, that's sleep time. I may as well put on a baseball game. No, really? I love sleeping baseball. Through baseball. Oh, shoot. I love baseball. You love baseball, but you like to sleep through it. Oh, yeah. I wake up every home run. And then you watch the next, like, Jays in 30 or whatever the next day or something to get all your who won. Yeah. Okay, so what kind of guest, we're going to wrap this up soon, but what kind of guest do you hope to have going forward? Are there any types of people that you want to interview? That is a very good question. Who would I like to have? I would love just honestly, anybody and everybody.
Anybody with
who
an
has,
interesting story?
Yeah, with an interesting story. Like, it doesn't have to be, somebody who owns a store or somebody who is the head of something, or, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't just about, important people, people who have kind of a status, let's say, job or something they do. There are incredible people in North Bay every day that you meet.
So not just politicians, but real people.
Real people who put their pants
That's
on the
my
same.
humor.
But yeah, it's anybody and everybody. I do have like a little list of some people that I will ask, but I think that's the beauty of this podcast is you can go from politics, right? You can speak to, like, for instance, today I'm going to be speaking to the new deputy mayor. And so you can talk about that, but you can also talk about somebody who is growing their own mushrooms, but like not those mushrooms, but you know what I mean?
Why
Like, or why not? But or somebody who has like a hobby farm, or someone who's
just interesting people in the neighborhood. Yeah,
in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
these are the people in your neighborhood.
I love it.
That's what it is. That's what we are. Yeah.
Well, you guys are in for a blast. You're going to have a bunch of new content, new information, new people to know. And the community is going to feel a little bit tighter around you. And I'm looking forward to what we're going to do at Echo Community Podcast Network. And Small Town Times is really happy to be part of it. So welcome aboard, Lisa. This is going to be so cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. There you go. How's that?
There you go. Well done.